Tensions are high in Eastern Europe. Russia has said it will not drag negotiations for days on end, while Ukraine has said it will continue to pursue the NATO membership despite Russia's opposition. Take a look at what's been brewing in Ukraine, while the Indian mission has also given an advisory for the Indian students.
Eastern Europe continues to simmer. While Russia maintains it is ready to defuse the security situation, the country has massed a huge force within striking distance of Ukraine. Moscow insists it will not allow endless negotiations on questions that demand immediate solution. The US says Russia could invade Ukraine any day now. Meanwhile, Ukraine President Volodymyr Zelenskiy affirmed it will continue to pursue NATO membership despite Russia's opposition.
Ukraine's desire to join the European Union to strengthen its border for future alliance and our ambitions. You are very well aware of it. It is the country's wish. Also, there's a war in the east. We understand, and we would like NATO membership, which would be a guarantee of our security, our territorial integrity. It is enshrined in the Ukrainian legislation and Ukrainian constitution.
Zelensky also said that neither he nor his family had any plans to leave the country. Till date, Russia has positioned more than 100,000 troops near Ukraine's border, but denies any plans to invade. Western countries have already promised sanctions on an unprecedented scale if Russia does invade. The US has sent more troops to Poland and Romania. So far, there has been no clear indications from the two sides of any possible climb down. Bureau Report, India Today.
So let's help you now understand what is the military power between Ukraine and Russia, and this with the possibility of a war playing out. Remember, at this point, the troops are way more for Russia, 30,14,000, while for Ukraine, a smaller country compared to Russia, just 11,55,000 are their troop deployment and specifically the strength. But importantly, what about the fighter aircrafts, if at all they require it? Russia has about 1,531 deployed, but Ukraine, as of now, only has 67 on standby. Now, what about the attack choppers? Russia, of course, remember, leads with military power. 538 choppers for them, while the attack helicopters for Ukraine, only on standby for now, are 34. What about the land preparedness for Ukraine and Russia? 13,000 tanks are ready for Russia if they need to invade into Ukraine. Ukraine has 2,430. And apart from that, what about the armored vehicles? Because that also would be required for land as and when that war does break out. For Russia, 27,000, but for Ukraine, 11,435 armored vehicles. Let's now bring you about the artillery. Russia has 4,465, and this perhaps is only what is required for now. For Ukraine, only 2,000 artillery is prepared and ready. If there does come to the level of warships, Russia 214, Ukraine only 13. Remember, already Russia has deployed lack of troops on 3 sides of Ukraine, while even the United States of America has escalated deployment in the nearby smaller countries of Ukraine, if at all the war that does break out between the two countries. Let me now go across to our foreign affairs editor, Geeta Mohan. Geeta, this is as much about international politics as this is about the Indian students who are studying in universities and border areas. How is Indian government watching it? What are you picking up as details on the ground? Are we close to war than we believe?
Well, Tensions are really high between Ukraine and Russia, but negotiations are underway, Pooja. That's the reason why the Indian embassy has put a very cautious travel advisory, asking those students who do not really require to stay in Ukraine to leave the country, return to India, because should an eventuality of a conflict occur in Ukraine, then evacuation will be a Herculean task, and they'd want at least these students to leave. The rest continue to remain. The embassy has asked all Indian nationals in Ukraine to remain in touch with the embassy, give the embassy their whereabouts so that evacuation is smoother should they require to do that. And also, as the embassy has mentioned, that for now it continues to function normally, which means they do not want to create panic. The situation within Ukraine in terms of the cities goes on as normal. Universities are still open. The ones that went online are not because of the war situation, but more so to do with COVID-19. But that does not mean that talks and negotiations have succeeded. And if they don't succeed, like President Putin and Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov in their conversation said, that this cannot go on forever. So if discussions do not come to a logical conclusion, then we could very well see a more sterner action from Russia into Ukraine. But
so
right
now,
now,
right now, yes, Geeta, will be on negotiations that are on, and specifically this with the deployment of the troops as well. I request you to please stay on with me, Geeta, because India is clearly closely watching developments between Ukraine and Russia. Tensions are escalating. India has asked its students specifically to leave Ukraine, that if their work is not essential. Indian mission in Ukraine has asked Indian students, especially them, if their studies can be done from India, to return to the country. Embassy of India in Kyiv has been contacting Indian citizens who are based in Ukraine to collect information on those who may require evacuation in case a conflict flares up between Russia and Ukraine. Ukraine, remember, with its high-quality medical colleges, has been a destination of choice for many medical aspirants from India, and the country has more than 10,000 Indian students at present. In addition, there are also Indian professionals who are working in Ukraine. Geeta Mohan continues to be with me on that. Now, Geeta, this is because this is primarily about Indian students. This is about what is playing out with regard to India. I want viewers to first listen in to this ground update that has come in, and then I'll come to you, because this is about Russia adding more military force and capability near Ukraine's border. And Geeta Mohan spoke to some of these Indian students in the country.
Thanks for joining us here on India Today. I'll begin with the first issue with regards to Indian students and whether they're headed home. Because you're in the border town of Kharkiv. So explain to us what the situation is and whether if there are students who are returning to India.
As of you said, some of the students, they are returning back to India because they are continuing their classes online. The university has advised them to go back and continue their studies online. And some of the universities, they are continuing studies offline. So many students are over here and situation is very calm.
Okay, situation is calm. But Ms. Anna, you're teaching all these students, quite a few of them are Indian students studying in the universities. You tell me, what's the sense of all the foreign students who are there? Do they come to you asking what needs to be done? Should they leave Ukraine? Do parents get in touch?
Hello, thank you so much, first of all, for such an opportunity to talk about our students. We are really glad that a lot of students from India are coming to us. They are really hardworking students, so thank you so much for such wonderful people. Yes, nowadays we are studying online. Yes, so students must do some tasks online. So most of the time they are coming to my class and take some books and papers and ask questions if they don't know how to do something. And then at home they work. And we have such system as Moodle system, so they have the opportunity to turn on Moodle system, log in, and do the tasks and send me all tasks online, so I can check them without any problem and send them back. But we hope that soon, if I'm not mistaken, that from March, if the situation will be the same, quite quiet as it is now, our students will be able to come to classes, to our lessons offline, and we will continue studying. So nowadays, this process is very well regulated, so we don't have any problems with studying and with teaching. So everything is fine.
Right. We also have guardians who actually either are based out of Ukraine and have people and family members who are studying, like Dr. Patrick Royson, or we have Dr. Vinod Patil from Maharashtra, father, who spoke to us earlier as well about how tense they are because they see the news. So, Dr. Patil, first to you. Are you worried? Are parents in India worried about their children in Ukraine?
Yes, actually, see, there are. Okay, so my own brother, he is studying there in final year. Actually, my parents and me, everyone is concerned, like what is going to happen. But at the same time, I'm also legal guardian for about 400 students who are studying there. So actually, most of the parents are calling daily from morning till evening to know about what is happening. Should they call their children back to India or not? So, but till now, as a situation, we get to know from students and from Indian embassy and from the university authority, everything is stable. But parents are still very worried about the news. Each day, in the morning, they're seeing the news, newspapers, everything. After that, they're calling everyone, parents, embassy, even their agents, contractors. So parents and students, they don't know what to do actually. But students are very calm and situation is very stable in Ukraine.
Remember, this is not just about Russia, Ukraine or the United States of America. This is as much about India because many of our citizens are in Ukraine presently. I'll help you decode it for what does it have as an implication for India. There are over 20,000 Indians presently in Ukraine. Many of them are students, and in case of a war, India will have to carry out massive evacuation efforts for its citizens. India, with that evacuation, also will, apart from this, there will be also a major oil crisis, price hike here in India, which are already at a 7-year high. So that will be very important as an implication or an economy. The oil prices hike will then hinder the recovery of the Indian economy, which was already trying to recover from the COVID pandemic. All of this may lead to the closeness of Russia with China. That, of course, remember, will become and pose a bigger challenge for India. And in that situation, India may also get caught up in the diplomatic tussle, which appears to be just between Russia and Ukraine for now. But what if it blows up? United States of America has already deployed troops on one side of Ukraine. India will eventually have to get involved, and that could be a challenge and a strategy they are already mulling on. Meanwhile, United States is relocating its Ukraine embassy operations from the capital Kyiv to western city of Lviv. Secretary of State Antony Blinken has said on Monday, citing a dramatic acceleration in the build-up of the Russian forces. Here's a news report that you must know about how international politics is now being brought in between Russia and Ukraine.
The United States is relocating its Ukraine embassy operations from the capital Kyiv to the western city of Lviv, Secretary of State Antony Blinken said on Monday, citing a dramatic acceleration in the buildup of Russian forces. The move comes as U.S. officials warn that Moscow was continuing to amass more than 100,000 troops near Russia's border with Ukraine and in neighboring Belarus, and could launch an attack at any time. State Department spokesperson Ned Price said the move is based on Russia's threatening military posture.
We are basing our assessment on what we are seeing on the ground with our own eyes, which is a continued and unprovoked Russian buildup on the border with Ukraine and no accompanying evidence of de-escalation.
Most embassy staff have already been ordered to depart Ukraine, and U.S. citizens have been advised to leave the country by commercial means. Pentagon spokesperson John Kirby on Monday warned that if Russia were to attack Ukraine, there would be casualties on both sides.
Should they conduct another major military action, real lives will be at risk. Ukrainian lives, to be sure, but also Russian lives. This will not be bloodless.
Moscow denies Western accusations that it is planning an invasion. Russia suggested on Monday that it was ready to keep talking to the West to try to defuse the security crisis. Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov said diplomatic possibilities are far from exhausted.
And India today will be tracking all developments that are taking place in Ukraine.